The Miles Education Office is both an office and an institution. We were doing a lot of projects in different parts of the country. When it came to Delhi, we had this very unique building which was in South Delhi, but in a very old kind of a constructed fort-like space called the Red Fort at Saket. It was a very, very different space because it was actually made to be a haveli of somebody's. And then that somebody could not take it forward. And so my client, who comes from old Delhi, fell in love with a similar environment in this rather newer setting. And so our first challenge and brief was to maximize spaces. So we started getting longer spans to the extent possible, dismantling a lot of unwanted walls, closing a lot of unnecessary courtyards and shafts and stuff like that, and creating the floor plate. Once we created the floor plate, and this was about 12,000 square feet, so it wasn't very big, wasn't very small. It was spread over 2 levels and a terrace. And once we opened up the spaces, we started seeing what can really work within those spaces. So he wanted 2 parts to the brief. One was having a kind of a corporate office, and one was having a training center. So we split them on 2 floors. And we did what we've learned during COVID, that we had the cafe on the terrace. Not the easiest thing in the harsh climates of Delhi, but we are blessed with 6 months which are pretty decent, so we use the cafe in that way. So that was the overall brief in terms of putting something very interesting together. And how we did it was really bring the language of the exterior, which was an old fort, into the interiors. So you'll see in a lot of the wonderful pictures that we're going to show you and the plans that it's really an amalgamation of something that's modern and heritage, and that's why I find it such a fascinating project. I think one of the important things that we've learned over the years is multiplicity of space. I think space can be used for different purposes at different times of the day. Say for example, we had these training areas which were classroom-like setups, and we designed them in a manner that not just do they divide or combine through sliding folding systems, but they also become back office areas or agile workspaces in non-class times. So classes would normally happen more towards the evenings, and in the daytime it was used as offices. So that's wonderful. I think more and more as we talk about commercial real estate being so precious, and I think the way we can bring versatility into design, I think that makes a big difference. And I think that was one of the things enabled not just by space planning, but also through technologies that would connect up, once they became one big hall, or could be used in, isolation. They were not just teaching devices, they also facilitated, video conferencing and stuff like that. So I think technology is a big enabler for productivity, and I think this was a living demonstration of that. So Dorma is not a new name to us. It's been around for quite some time, and I think dormakaba in its new evolved form provides more. So it provides more movable systems in addition to the kind of hardware that we would be using before. I think it's a premium brand. It's it's well specified. It sort of is an end-to-end kind of solution. We've started reusing them in a much more integrated manner than in the past. And I think we have good deliveries and good service support, and I think that's what makes all the difference.